Welcome back. Now what we're going to have a look is the some of the tap and hold and tap and double tap functionality that's available in the BlueMicro firmware. And just as a reminder, this is essentially the platform that we're actually flashing to. It's a simple 4x4 matrix, so it should be pretty simple to remind ourselves how this works. Okay, so let's go and have a look into the firmware first. So let's switch over here. Now, so if you want the tap and hold functionality, for example, we would have tap for a specific for example, key code. So it could be like a tap for a bracket or a letter or a number. Or if I hold it down, it could be control or shift or some other function that we would want to pass. Obviously, we got to be careful if we actually hold. It essentially sends the character as opposed to send. So we got to be careful like exactly how we take care of this. But tap and hold are two different activations. So tap is a simple tap, and hold is you keep pressing on the key. Now these are two ways. So let's just kind of see. For example, if I want to say a tap and hold, for example, a bracket, or a curly bracket, or a square bracket. So let's go with that as tap and hold as different functions. So we're going to be going into the our firmware here. So just like in previous tutorials, we're going to go into our 4x4 platform, into a key map. We're going to add a new feature here, so a new folder. So we're going to say tap and hold. So let's just go tap hold. Now for the tap and hold, again, just like the other ones, we need, and I'm going to grab the layers as an example. So we're going to grab both the key maps and the header file, and I'm going to go and paste a copy there. So in here, we're going to want to set up tap and hold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the layer functionality here, KC0. But I'm going to actually change a specific function here. So I'm going to go and say, I'm going to call this, for all the taps, I'm going to create a specific mapping here. And then for all the holds, I'm going to create another mapping here. And I'm just going to put, remove my layer here. We've got a simple matrix here. So now what we're going to do is just going to clear it out to put KCs and O's anywhere. Just for the simple fact that we want to just have one key that is going to be tap. Oop, we already had that one. And one key that's going to be the selection for the tap and hold, because typically it's going to be special situations. Not everything is going to have a tap and hold. Okay, so let's just have all of this here, and just clean it up, and this one here. Okay, so now neither of our tap or hold are actually set up. Now, and then if you remember, the standard is just the plain numpad. Okay, so now what we want to do is essentially we want to make sure that the tap and the hold, they look like layers, but in fact they're not. They're actually, and let me just make this L0 again. L0. 0, and then what we're going to do here is when we go here, this is going to be held 0, but see that method press? Well, we're going to want to actually see, where is that defined? Usually it actually says how to find it. Okay, well, we'll go and find this. It is in one of our other files. I think it's in either the key state. See the method here? Press, tap, hold, double tap, tap and double tap. Now you see the press is the standard one that we were using right now, but then there's the empty tap and the empty hold. So let's just kind of go and do this here, and then just as a reminder to ourselves, where were we? That was the key state. No, not this one here. I'm gonna put this here just as a okay, so and I'm just gonna document this of the options that we want to put in place here. So that's the first option here. Standard key press. Now I'm just gonna go this here. So this is this key is sent once when the key is held. This is when the key is tapped. And actually there's two methods that we could actually just document here very similarly. Is actually the tap and double tap. So let's just go and grab those two as well. So tap and double tap, let's put those as well in here. So tap and double tap. And then this key is pressed when it is tapped, and this key sends once the key is tapped twice. Okay. So so that means we've got, this is essentially the standard press for the regular layout. So it could be pressed for layer 0. So if we want to redo all of our key codes, what we can do is actually, and let's just for the fun of it, and actually let's do this as a very good example. And I'm gonna remove this, and this is just going to be the plain key map, and then remove one of those, and it's not going to be tap. I'm going to call it press is equal to our key map, just like the other ones. Now this, what we're going to do here is going to force everything to be nothing. So what we're doing here is we're forcing everything to be initialized to nothing, and then we're saying in the press we're going to be sending this layout, and then in the tap and the hold we're going to send nothing again. So that means in the press, so this is press of 0, we're going to send the press, but then we also want to send the other two methods. So we're going to have this. So we're gonna have tap here, and then hold here, and then again layer 0, tap, and then this is tap, hold. Now at the same time I could create a double tap, tap, and a double tap, double tap. Now the reason why we have these two is the logic to either send a press, a tap, or a double tap is actually independent from each other. So that means we could actually have it set up that we can, if we have all press, tap, and the tap for the double tap logic all set up, that means we're going to be able to send 3 key presses all at the same time, boom, 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 just for the same one key, which doesn't quite make sense. So we have to select one of the 3, not all 3. So let's just go with this, press, tap. So what we're doing here is we've got initialize to nothing, then we've got the press with the key map that we had originally, and then initialize the tap and the hold to nothing. And then we send those variables pass on to into the matrix. So what this will do as it is right now is it will be identical to our current key map when we were previously into the base. So let's go and compile this to make sure that there's no mistakes anywhere or missing semicolons. So cd build, cd windows, and then git the commit. So not a flash, we got a build. So now this is not the adjust layer, so this is the tap and hold. So we're gonna compile. Okay, all good. So might as well do the other 2 methods right away so that it's all set up. So that means we've got tap, hold, and then we're gonna have a couple of other ones set up here. So 1, 2, so this is gonna be double tap, and I'm gonna call it single tap here. And then we're going to add 2 new here. So this is single tap and double tap. Now what we're going to do here is going to go double here. So this one there. And this one goes here. So now we've got what looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different layers. So it's configured exactly the same way as layers. So we know exactly where a specific key, what it will do and in which condition. But it's actually mapped as like similarly to layers, but they're actually not layers. They're all in the same layer. It's just different activation methods. So so we've got this compile. So now let's go and say I just go how we want to go and do this. So I said the square bracket and the curly braces might be a good example of tap and hold and tap and double tap and so on. So let's just go and do the square bracket. So what is a square bracket again in the curly braces? So let's go and find out. So we go into the HID key codes. In here, all the way in here. So the standard one is going to be a square bracket. So we've got left and right. So let's just grab this. And we're going to just paste it here for now. the square right bracket is here. So, and then we've got the advanced key codes for the shifted versions. So now we've got the curly braces. So see these guys, left curly brace and right curly brace. So it's send the left shift and the bracket at the same time. So we're gonna go and use these as our special ones. So now let's prepare that. So let's use the slash. So let's go 7 and the slash as the 2. So we're gonna go in the press. So we're gonna go this one KC no, but then in the tap we're gonna want a left bracket here and a left curly when we hold, and then the slash I'm gonna get KC no key, then the right bracket when we tap, and then the curly one when we hold. Okay, so that's one example. Now what else could we have that could be useful as tap double tap now? So let's just say for tap double tap we're gonna go quote and single quote and double quotes. That actually could be a useful one. So it's a single quote whenever we've got a tap, but then we send a double tap when we send a double quote whenever we press we double tap the quote. So let's go and see what those key codes are. So the standard one, the HID, so this is a quote. Where is it hiding? Brash quote, so C, so this is the one that we want. So let's just go and put that here, and then in the advance there's that quote, so the double quote is this one here. Okay, so we've got a quote and double quote, so let's just go put that under the right bracket. So let's put it here. So now we want to have, instead of the asterisk, it's going to be no key here. Then the quote as the single tap here, and the double quote, it's in the second one, the double tap there. Okay, so we've got a specific key we want to have activated as a double tap whenever we send a double quote, or whenever we double tap it, it's going to be sent a double quote. A single tap is going to be a quote. It's going to be this. Okay, so that's good. So let's just go and save that now. Save all and compile it again, and then we're going to be flashing it after that is done. Okay, so one successful, tap and hold. And actually, yeah, that's fine. Now let's go and prepare the flash. So, well, I can make it, yeah, that's fine. So let's go here and connect it there. And I'm gonna go a few, where's the flash? So the platform, the adjust layer, so this is the tap and hold one, and then it's going to be doing the flashing of the bootloader and the firmware. So I'm going to come back whenever we're done. Okay, so it's compiled and all ready. So let's just go and move that, and you'll see me type on things here. So you'll see me and let's go and test it out. So we've got this here, so it's reset, there's nothing. So remember, it's these two corners, so whenever we just plain do a tap, are we connected? It's actually, okay, let's turn it on first. There it is, it's on. Okay, so it's working. Okay, so let's go a single tap here, single tap there. If we hold, it actually sends it fine, and then if we hold, it sends it. Now, one of the key difference that you want to make that you see here, we're sending the same key code, but you see we actually also sent the shift. Now let's just go quote, double quote, and actually send both as well. So let me just kind of show you in a plain text format so that you can actually see it. Let's go here and just plain new file. So I've got the standard keys 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now the 7 is actually different. So we've got 7, just a plain. Oh, okay. This is. Let's just start plain vanilla Notepad here. Notepad. Okay, so let's just get Notepad here. Sorry for the all white. So let's go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this bracket opens up, this other bracket closes, hold, and then release. Okay, so now what we've seen that it actually repeated the curly brace, so a single, obviously these two, it's a single tap, but I can actually hold it for some time, and it's only the repeat time. Now, let me just go a few down. If I just go to regular one thing, a regular press, I press, but it actually keeps held. So there's a repeat time, and the repeat time, it's not the keyboard that does it, it's the computer. Because what happens is, when I press the key, it sends, say I'm setting the 4, but it only whenever it's released that it will send, oh, I'm no longer pressing a key, or I'm pressing a different key, or I'm no longer pressing the 4 essentially. So this is one key element, that the press, where I actually have this, but then whenever I do a single press of a tap, it's gonna send the character as soon as it detects that I'm no longer pressing the key. Now if I go into my my quote and double quote, you're gonna see that it's actually sending, there's a little bit of a delay between when it actually presses and it sends the character, because we actually got to wait for the double tap to happen. Now this is an adjustable parameter we can actually change, but so if I go double tap, you see there's that double quote coming in. Whoops. Okay, so we got there, double tap, we got the quote, do something, double quote again. So double quote, oh, we got a triple, there we go, double, double, double. Again, it's a matter of like, each person may have a slightly different timing on how they actually do their double quotes, and that timing again is adjustable. Now, so tap, 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 hold, hold. If I hold on here, it's not gonna happen. It's actually waiting for me to wait or release that tap, because it's actually trying to see if I'm gonna have a double, and actually my timing on I might need to adjust it for myself. The timing for the double quote isn't quite right for me, so I'll make those parameters a little bit more easily available to be edited. So what we've done here today is we've actually configured the tap, the double tap, the tap and hold, and then that's for the different characters. So they look like layers, but they're actually all on the same layer here, on layer 0. So let's have a quick look what we've done here. So let's go back to the key map. We've set up essentially this press one, and actually that's a key difference from what we've done previously, where we were initializing with our key map there. So you can see we've initialized it just like the other key maps or the other layers, but we're essentially, it's that initial layer, it's on layer 0, it's method press. So this, if we only have one layer for a keyboard, it's a method press, we can initialize everything like we've done in our first tutorial, where it's in the initialization of the matrix here. But if we want to have layers, if we want to have taps, hold, single tap, double tap, it's all configured through that looping over the rows and columns in our C array of key codes. So we've kind of covered quite a bit today. Now I'm going to close this up right now because we're going to have quite a lot of other things to look into. But this is some functionality that is actually quite useful when we get to use some of our more complicated keyboards, like the small keyboards, maybe like the Kirkin, where we've got only 30 keys and we map like everything to it. So we got to use a whole lot more complex functionality from the firmware to be able to make that keyboard much more useful. Okay, well, I'm going to be pushing that into do a commit on Git for this tutorial, and then we're going to be moving on to the next tutorial next. Well, I'll see you next time. Bye.